All right, so this is a little different from what I did yesterday. I just couldn't live with what I was doing yesterday. So if you're looking at this and you're in section 3 and it looks a little different, that's because I just threw that out. It just wasn't working for me. Okay, long story, doesn't matter, you guys, section 1. So here's the chart, okay? Now, given 3 moles, I need to find the mass in grams, the volume in liters, the number of particles, the mass, the atomic mass. Here's the particle, and same thing. Now, this column is based on this column. Clear? You get it? Yes? If I give you the atomic mass in the moles, there's no way you're going to be able to get SO2. I would have to give you more information. I could do that. I could give you an elemental analysis column. That sounds like actually a pretty cool idea, but not right now. That's later on. When we come back from break, I'll do that kind of stuff, okay? But this is basically, 75% of chapter 10, what I have on the board here. You can pass the test by knowing this stuff, okay? Now, so we know how to do atomic mass. So let's take one line at a time, okay? Yes? Do I have to teach you how to do atomic mass? You know how to do that, right? So SO2 would be what? What's the atomic mass of SO2? No. The atomic mass of SO2 is not 32. Kareem, you're one of the brightest students I teach. Plus, you're 2 years older than everybody else. Would you like to reconsider your answer? So, what would it be? 64, thank you. Why did he say 32? Well, he saw sulfur and he just got stuck in a loop. Sulfur is 32. But each oxygen is 16, so that's 32 and 32 is 64. So the mass is going to be of sulfur dioxide is going to be 64. And you don't write AMU. I didn't really say that before, but now that we're done with it, U is that's the unit label for atomic weight is U. That's what I use, okay. So now you have the number of moles, there's 3. Now, let me review with you what a mole is. If I say to you, Augustina, your first language is Spanish. You're from Argentina. Wonderful child. If I say to you the word dozen, what's a dozen? 12. That's an English word. Matter of fact, I think it may even be Saxon for all I know, but it's not throwing you off, right? What does a dozen mean? It just means what? A number, right? Does it mean a mass? Is it a mass? No. Because if I have a dozen students or a dozen grains of sand, different masses, right? Correct? What is a dozen? It's just what? It's just a count. That's what you would call it, in case you're curious. You would call it a count. It's a count. Okay? A dozen. Yes? You okay with that? A dozen. Okay. If I said to you a mole, what do you think of? The first thing you think of when you hear the word mole. You think of this really ugly creature that burrows in the ground and is like, destroys your garden, essentially. Okay. Well, a mole is a count as well. Okay. A mole is just a larger count. If I take this, it's like a really long number. Okay. If I take one particle of sulfur dioxide, right? It has a total of 64 protons and neutrons all together, right? If I counted them up. Is that okay? Yes? Total. Correct? Total. Actually, sulfur dioxide has, if I'm thinking correctly, it has an equal number of protons and neutrons, right? So it's going to have 32 total protons, total, yes? Yeah, because oxygen is 8, so that's 16, right? Sulfur is 16, right? So it's 32. And if the total number of nucleons is 64, 64 minus 32 is 32, so 32, right? And we know that those are very small, right? Not anywhere near a gram, right? Really small, yes? But we're talking very tiny. Have you ever seen a sulfur dioxide particle? If you have, you should check yourself into a hospital, okay, and find some medication. All right, because that's not good, okay? It's called a seizure disorder, okay? Now, it's horrible, isn't it? That's okay. Anyway, so you haven't seen a sulfur dioxide, so they're pretty small, would you say? Yeah, okay. I've seen a sulfur dioxide. I have. But I couldn't distinguish an individual one from the other, because if I take this many sulfur dioxides, what's the mass of that? Like that number, like what's this? This is like a million and a million, it's a million and a million and another million, so like a million times like a million to the fourth, you know, right? Can you imagine a million times a million times a million? Ish, right? Ish, right? What would the mass be? Well, this is really easy. This is so easy. You're going to say, wait a second, I thought chemistry is really hard. It's not hard. It's just, people say that, and if enough people say that, then people start to believe it. How many people have heard that chemistry is really hard? Raise your hand. Okay? It's a conspiracy, and you fell for it. Okay? It's the second shooter on the grassy knoll. You fell for it. Okay? It was a lone gunman, not the grassy knoll. Same thing. Chemistry is difficult. The second shooter. Same thing. You fell for it. I'm going to prove to you that chemistry is really easy. Okay. At the core of chemistry calculations is the mole. Are you ready? Are you ready? You ready, Mr. IKEA? Are you ready? You ready? Well, I don't care. Okay? You got to be ready for those customers, man. I'm telling you. All right? Now, so you ready for this? So if I have one particle of sulfur dioxide at 64 AMUs, 64 units, right? Right? If I have this many of them, it's 64 grams. One mole sulfur dioxide, 64 grams. So if I take one particle, it's 64 nucleons, you add them all up. Well, what's the mass of a proton? What's the mass of a neutron? You add it all up, right? But if I take this many of them, it's 64 grams. I mean, is that easy or what? It's really cool. I'm telling you, it's cool. I know, you're trying to be cool. You're living the conspiracy, I know. You're living the conspiracy. So we should make up t-shirts that say, I am the conspiracy. Okay, try not to break the chair, Anna. Okay? Okay, what did we do? You put your foot, I know exactly what you did. Put your feet on the rungs of the chair, it's safer. Okay? I'm not annoyed, nor do I want you looking for anything else that might have broken off, because we're talking about the conspiracy. This is interesting stuff. Okay? Yes, yes. So you can make up a t-shirt and say, I am the conspiracy, because that's what you're living. You're living a lie. Okay? Andrew, you're living a lie. You are, because you believe in the conspiracy. Okay? Kaylee, you don't think that's easy? If I say to you, you don't, can't you add up? Let me get this straight, Kaylee. You can't figure out that sulfur dioxide, the molecular weight of sulfur dioxide, the atomic weight is 64 AMUs. That's hard. Is that hard? No. Of course it's not hard, right? How many people think that's hard? If that's hard, you've got to drop this class and go take cooking, okay? All right, TJ, that's it. You're out of here. Mr. IKEA, go sell some furniture, okay? Excellent. All right, so that's easy, right? Now, if I say to you, well, we're going to work with, we don't want to work with one. We want to work with enormous numbers, but we're not going to go around writing that number down. We're just going to say it's a mole. 1 mole is 64 grams. Is that hard? Okay. All right. So let's go completely crazy. Let's go completely crazy. You ready? You ready? Carbon dioxide. What's the molecular weight of carbon dioxide? What is it? 44. Okay. Well, here's 3 moles, right? 3 moles of sulfur dioxide would be what? Yeah. There you go. 64 times 3 would be what? 192. 192. Good. I thought you said something else. 192. Good. Well, what's 1 mole of carbon dioxide? 44. You guys are good. 44 grams, right? Excellent. How about what's the molecular weight, the atomic weight of hydrogen H2? 4? Where do you get 4 from? 2. Yeah, 1 and 1. What's the? Do you have a periodic table? Why don't you go over that periodic table and look up the atomic weight?
No, it's 1 and 1.
Yeah. So what's 1 and 1? 4. Pretty funny. But are there any neutrons? If the atomic mass of hydrogen is 1, there's no neutrons, right? And try to remember that you're like really bright. You are. You're one of my brightest students. You're just having a bad morning, okay? You're gonna have coffee, okay? So what about? Oh, here I put. What about ammonia? I put the name here, trying to fool you. What's ammonia? NH3, right? So, Augustina, you're like shaking your head, no, thinking, I'm going to accept that. Saying, all right, fine. Augustina says, no, all right, fine, I'm going to leave her alone. Wrong.
17.
Who said that? Who said that? Excellent. And then chlorine would be what? 35 and 35, because it's chlorine, Cl2. So I'm going to get rid of this and put Cl2. And I'm going to put NH3. Now, so 1 mole of each would be, 1 mole of this would be 70 grams. 1 mole of this would be 17 grams. 1 mole of this would be 2 grams, right? Is that easy? Right? How many people understand so far, what I did in black? How many people can at least follow me? I'm not asking you to take a test. How many people are completely a mess? Have no idea what's going on? Okay, good. Hey, be careful out there. Have a great day. Hey, let me just leave this on. You can ask your question while it's filming. Just don't come over here so they see your face.
Wouldn't 1 AMU equal 1 over...
1 AMU.
Would equal 1 over...
Yes, exactly.
Grams, right?
Exactly. Great. You are so good. You're trying to make up, right? You're right. You're trying to make up for... You're trying to redeem yourself, right? Everybody, that was Kareem, and I don't buy it. He's trying to redeem himself. Okay? All right? All right. Kareem, that's actually correct. Kareem said, well, wouldn't 1 AMU be 1 over that? And the answer is yes. Or essentially-ish 1/6 times 10 to the negative 23. Right? Ish. Okay? Are you ready? Hold it. Stand back. Stand back. Okay.